First week of the NFL playoffs, Alabama returns to the Super Bowl. Alabama, LSU, and Penn State are the college programs assured of sending an alumnus to Super Bowl LVI, based on the current active rosters of the NFL's 14 postseason teams. Each of the 7 teams on the AFC side of the NFL championship bracket has at least one former Alabama player and one former LSU player. Penn State is represented by former players on each active roster on the NFC side. More NFL. Cincinnati tackle Jonah Williams no stranger to playoffs though Bengals are. Titans warm up Julio Jones before NFL playoff. Will Calvin Ridley return to the Falcons in 2022? Alabama reached an NFL record by having 68 of its former players appear in regular season games during the 2021 season. Ohio State had 63 alumni play, and LSU had 60, making this season the first in which 3 college programs produced 60 players apiece. LSU is number 1 for the playoffs with 23 former players on the active rosters of the 14 teams. Alabama has 22, but the Crimson Tide is expected to get a 23rd player into postseason action this month. The Tennessee Titans have designated running back Derrick Henry for return from injured reserve. He started practice last week and is expected to be activated before the Titans open the playoffs next week after enjoying a first-round bye. Ohio State has 15 former players on the active rosters of the postseason teams. Michigan with 21 and Florida with 17 also are ahead of the Buckeyes in the postseason player count, and Iowa and Penn State have 15 apiece. 2. The college rundown of the rosters comes with a caveat. Before the coronavirus pandemic, the NFL rosters were stable at this point in the season, with changes made for injuries after each round. To deal with the pandemic, the NFL has allowed each team to elevate 2 players off its active roster for each game in the 2020 and 2021 season. Teams also can use practice squad players as replacements for active roster players who are placed on reserve/COVID-19. Alabama has 7 players on the practice squads of the playoff teams. The current configuration of the NFL rosters means Alabama will return to the Super Bowl after not having a player on the field in the NFL championship game last season for the first time since the 2007 season. Former Crimson Tide tight end O.J. Howard was on Tampa Bay's roster when the Buccaneers beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl LV on February 7, but he was on injured reserve, and the Chiefs did not have an Alabama alumnus on their active roster, although wide receiver Gehrig Dieter was on the practice squad. The previous Super Bowl without an Alabama player getting in on the action had been the title game for the 2007 season, when the New York Giants defeated the New England Patriots 17-14 in Super Bowl XXXVIII. Former Tide offensive tackle Wesley Britt was on the Patriots' active roster, but he did not play in the game. The previous Super Bowl without an Alabama player on the active roster of either team had been the title game for the 2003 season, when the New England Patriots defeated the Carolina Panthers 32-29 in Super Bowl XXXVIII. Auburn has 11 former players on the active rosters of this year's playoff teams. For the other colleges in Alabama, it's 2 apiece for Troy and UAB and 1 each for Jacksonville State, North Alabama, Samford, South Alabama, and West Alabama. The postseason active rosters also include 19 former Alabama high school stars, and it might be more. Like Henry, Green Bay Packer outside linebacker Za'Darius Smith and Las Vegas Raiders linebacker Nicholas Morrow have been designated for return from injured reserve and are practicing again. The players with Alabama football roots on the rosters of the playoff teams include Buffalo Bills, Mario Addison, defensive end, Tarrant, Troy, Surin Neal, cornerback, Eufaula, Jacksonville State, Levi Wallace, cornerback, Alabama, practice squad, Josh Thomas, safety, Montgomery Academy, Cincinnati Bengals, Evan McPherson, kicker, Fort Payne, C.J. Uzomah, tight end, Auburn, Jonah Williams, offensive tackle, Alabama, Kansas City Chiefs, Derek Gore, running back, Alabama, Tyreek Hill, wide receiver, West Alabama, Jaron Reed, defensive tackle, Alabama, Prince Tega Wanoo, offensive tackle, Edgewood Academy, Auburn, practice squad, Gehrig Dieter, wide receiver, Alabama, practice squad, Darrell Williams, center, Bessemer City, Las Vegas Raiders, Peyton Barber, running back, Auburn, Daniel Carlson, kicker, Auburn, Josh Jacobs, running back, Alabama, Alex Leatherwood, guard, Alabama, practice squad, Isaiah Buggs, defensive lineman, Alabama, practice squad, Lester Cotton, guard, Central Tuscaloosa, Alabama, practice squad, Damian Square, defensive lineman, Alabama, reserve/injured, Kenyon Drake, running back, Alabama, reserve/injured, Nicholas Morrow, linebacker, Huntsville, reserve/injured, Darius Philon, defensive lineman, Vigor, New England Patriots, Christian Barmore, defensive tackle, Alabama, Damian Harris, running back, Alabama, Donta Hightower, linebacker, Alabama, Mac Jones, quarterback, Alabama, Brandon King, linebacker, Thompson, Auburn, Jarrett Stidham, quarterback, Auburn, reserve/physically unable to perform, Byron Cowart, defensive tackle, Auburn, reserve/injured, Anfernee Jennings, linebacker, Dadeville, Alabama, reserve/injured, Jonathan Jones, cornerback, Auburn. Pittsburgh Steelers. Montravius Adams, defensive tackle, Auburn. Minka Fitzpatrick, safety, Alabama. Najee Harris, running back, Alabama. J.C. Hasnar, center, Alabama. Corliss Whiteman, punter, South Alabama. Practice squad, Damian Willis, wide receiver, Troy. Tennessee Titan. Kareem Blasingame, fullback, Buckhorn. Zach Cunningham, linebacker, Pinson Valley. Rashan Evans, linebacker, Auburn High, Alabama. Jackrabbit Jenkins, cornerback, North Alabama. Ben Jones, center, Bibb County. Julio Jones, wide receiver, Foley, Alabama. Chester Rogers, wide receiver, Lee Huntsville. Practice squad, Deshaun Hand, defensive lineman, Alabama. Reserve/injured, Derrick Henry, running back, Alabama. Reserve/injured, Monty Rice, linebacker, James Clemens. Arizona Cardinal. Rodney Hudson, center, BC Rain. Deion Thompson, safety, Alabama. Dallas Cowboy. Amari Cooper, wide receiver, Alabama. Trevon Diggs, cornerback, Alabama. Practice squad, Robert Foster, wide receiver, Alabama. Practice squad, Ito Smith, running back, McGill Tulane. Green Bay Packers. Reserve/injured, Za'Darius Smith, outside linebacker, Greenville. Los Angeles Rams. Terrell Lewis, outside linebacker, Alabama. Ashawn Robinson, defensive end, Alabama. Darius Williams, cornerback, UAB. Practice squad, Chandler Brewer, offensive lineman, Florence. Practice squad, Blake Countess, safety, Auburn. Philadelphia Eagle. Landon Dickerson, guard, Alabama. Jordan Howard, running back, Gardendale, UAB. Jalen Hurts, quarterback, Alabama. Aaron Sipas, punter, Auburn. Devonta Smith, wide receiver, Alabama. Quez Watkins, wide receiver, Athens. Practice squad, Jared Maiden, safety, Alabama. Reserve/injured, Jack Driscoll, offensive lineman, Auburn. San Francisco 49ers. Jaquiski Tart, safety, Davidson, Samford. Jimmy Ward, safety, Davidson. Practice squad, Jordan Matthews, tight end, Madison Academy. Reserve/injured, D. Ford, defensive end, St. Clair County, Auburn. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. KJ Britt, linebacker, Oxford, Auburn. Carlton Davis, cornerback, Auburn. Jamal Dean, cornerback, Auburn. O.J. Howard, tight end, Autauga Academy, Alabama. Steve McClendon, defensive tackle, Carol Ozark, Troy. Rakeem Nunez-Rocks, defensive lineman, Central Phoenix City. The schedule for the Super Wild Card weekend of the NFL playoff. Saturday. AFC, number 5 Las Vegas Raiders at number 4 Cincinnati Bengals, 3:30 p.m. AFC, number 6 New England Patriots at number 3 Buffalo Bills, 7:15 p.m. Sunday. NFC, number 7 Philadelphia Eagles at number 2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, noon. NFC, number 6 San Francisco 49ers at number 3 Dallas Cowboys, 3:30 p.m. AFC, number 7 Pittsburgh Steelers at number 2 Kansas City Chiefs, 7:15 p.m. Monday. NFC, number 5 Arizona Cardinals at number 4 Los Angeles Rams, 7:15 p.m. Earning first-round buys as the number 1 seeds for each conference were the Packers in the NFC and the Titans in the AFC. The top 2 seeds in each conference begin postseason play in the divisional round on January 22 and 23. The schedule for that round will be determined after the Super Wild Card weekend. The conference championship games will be played on January 30th. Super Bowl LVI is scheduled to be played at 5:30 p.m. February 13th at Sophie Stadium in Inglewood, California. NBC will televise the game. For more of AL.com's coverage of the NFL, go to our NFL page. Mark Inabinet is a sports reporter for Alabama Media Group. Follow him on Twitter at @amark1.